return, but to only house shows. That's the report. He's doing a brief stint from December 26th to like January 20th.
Of only house shows?
But he's not doing televised events, according to a new interview.
It's only a month.
Yeah. Well, he's going to be in the Rumble. It's going to be a surprise, I'm sure.
Oh,
like,
for
how
sure.
do you tease that?
I mean, it's going to be like a surprise, but not a surprise because everybody knows it's going to be like...
Yeah, he's going to come in eventually. I'm curious about the Rumble this year, though. I'm sure we'll have our discussion.
It's going to be Roman Reigns again. That's all. Roman Reigns is going to win. If he's back. If he's back in time.
I was going to say, he has leukemia.
I know. Okay. If he's not back in time, then...
I doubt he's going to be back.
It actually might be a toss-up.
Like, he was out, like, indefinitely. That's why he relinquished the title. They don't plan on him coming back anytime soon. I think, I don't know. I have either Drew McIntyre or Daniel Bryan. But Daniel Bryan's a heel now, so it's like...
And he has the title still, right?
Yeah, but you can lose it.
You think he'll lose it within a month?
Have a title match at Rumble, and then
come
in.
Lose it.
And then
like that.
Depends on how they do the format, though, because last year they started off with the men's Rumble, and then main evented the female Rumble.
Oh, so look at them go.
I think they're going to reverse it, though. I think they're going to start with the female Rumble.
I mean...
And end with the men's Rumble.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
Yeah.
Squad wrestling. Mm-hmm. I don't know the name of that. Alright, there we go. I like the bigger sound waves. They're easier to see and see the peaks.
So you like big thing, gotcha.
Yep.
Fat bottom girls, you make my rock and roll go round. That's something big.
I don't know. Penguins' ears down here. Up here.
They don't have ears.
They have to hear somehow.
Yeah, but I don't think that they have ears though. Just
so,
like snakes.
So where they're hearing...
Snakes, I don't know. I don't know, but at least we can't see their ears. Well, I'm saying. I'm also just thinking of like every animated penguin I've ever seen, and I've never seen any ears. Or real life ones either, actually.
So how do snakes hear?
I don't know, but they do. Tim, I'm not some kind of animal. I'm not Steve Irwin, okay? Ask him.
It's only big cats. That's the only thing I trust you with.
Look, I know everything about these goddamn big cats.
Alright.
See, like, fun fact. No big cat can roar and purr. It's one or the other. And the biggest big cat that can purr but can't roar is the puma. AKA the mountain lion.
Okay.
I just want to throw that out there.
Episode 40. I think. Probably.
40-year-old virgin.
Yes. Sqwadcast has not had sex yet with any other Sqwadcast. Any other podcast.
I mean, I hope it's no incest in the Sqwadcast. If that's just us right now, that'd be I
don't know, man. Peter and Peggy.
So would incest and Sqwadcast be incast or Sqwadcest? Oh, Sqwadcest. Oh, it's never gonna happen though, guys. Don't worry.
Off to a great start.
Are you talking about incest?
It is me and Anchovio and Peggy.
What's up, Peggy?
What's up, girl?
What's up?
It is that time of year. We are doing...
Oh, sorry. I thought of another one.
Ooh. We are doing the Grievances episode. The entire episode. We did one last year-ish. I don't really know when it came out. But it did. And then we made it into a segment. But now that Festivus is upon us. Yep. They can't see.
I know, Tom.
Yep, we are doing an entire episode airing out our grievances. So yeah, I guess we'll just jump right into it.
Go ahead.
I have...
Go.
Well, one, we can do an entire episode about driving grievances, probably, with everything that happens on the road.
Oh my God, you kidding me?
But there were two instances that happened to me actually today.
Are you not starting with the usual Snapchat?
Oh yeah, I did have a Snapchat one planned too. See, this is all... Okay, Snapchat. As of late, it has been delaying when I take the picture to when it actually like takes the picture, I guess. Like I hit the button.
From when you hit the button to when it actually snaps the picture, yes.
So I'll make like a goofy face and then I'll look to see how it turned out, but then it's me looking at the camera, not making the face I wanted to make.
Yeah.
So it takes me a few tries to get the timing right. And it's making me real PO'd.
PO'd? What are you, a child, Tim?
Yep.
Say it grinds your gears. Pisses you off.
No, yeah, it's really frustrating though. Like, for real.
I know what the problem is. You don't have an iPhone.
That's not the problem.
So why does mine not do that?
Because I don't know.
I mean, the only difference I can see is that one of them has an iPhone, the other one does not.
Well, my phone is also beat up.
As is mine.
If my phone was in better condition.
Okay.
But it's also Snapchat. Let's just blame Snapchat. Let's put away our differences, because it's that time of year, and blame Snapchat for everything. This is not a Droid versus iPhone debate.
Exactly, because there's no debate, because the iPhone is clearly superior. So
you're not time for the debate. Remember, like, when Windows tried to make phones?
Yo, that was a thing.
Well, my friends in college had one, my first year in college.
Wow.
And he was like, it's a little smoother. He's like, they don't have as many apps because, like, it's a newer phone, but, like, it's a lot smoother, and it kind of, as soon as you get used to, like, because there was a lot of, like, blocks and Windows. It was, like, not just going back and forth. So he's like, once you get used to that, it's actually a really good phone. I recommend it for everyone. And he was literally the only person I know who ever had one.
Like, I didn't even know somebody who had one. Like, that's how.
This was almost 9 years ago now. 8 years ago. 8.5-ish years ago. So, yeah.
That's crazy. Oh, what a time.
Yeah, they really died out.
Yeah. Alright, so what's your car driving scenario?
Oh, okay. So I had 2 instances that happened just today. Right before recording. Well, not right before. There's a 4-way stop sign.
Yes.
Near my house.
Yes, there is.
And nobody knows how to handle 4-way stop signs.
No, they don't, because everybody's stupid.
Yes. I was taught, and I believe this is the right way, it's the person to the right. If 2 people show up at the same time, the person to the right goes first.
Yes.
But some people try to squeeze in. You know, if one person's turning right and they're going left, but another person on the other side went first, they're like, oh, that first person's going right, I can make my left or make my right and not wait for the other person to go, and then it's just a whole mess. And it's really frustrating, because I'm just like, just wait 3 seconds. Like, that's, like...
Everybody's in a hurry.
Yeah, and then some people try to give away the right away, and I'm like, nope, because that's disrupting everything. Like, don't be courteous, because then none of us know who is supposed to go when.
I think also how a lot of people do it is, like, it's the order in which you arrive there. But if, like, 4 of you guys arrive within, like, a millisecond of each other, then there's going to be issues.
Yeah.
So you need to stick to the right of way. You just go in the fucking circle.
Yeah. There's one person go, and then the next person, and the next person. And also, there was after I got through the 4-way stop sign, I got to a light, and I was making a left. And the lane is big enough. It's not 2 lanes. It's not like a left turn lane, but it's big enough for people to go around the left turners. And on the other side, there was 3 cars. One of them had their left turn signal on, which is surprising, given where we live.
Facts.
And then the cars were going around them, and I was also turning left. And the cars went by. The guy made the left before me. Like, the cars emptied out before me, but then the guy who was behind him wasn't turning left. He was going straight, and he cut off the person behind him. And I'm like, why are you waiting behind the left turn person and then sneaking in front of another person? Like, if you know you messed up, wait for traffic to clear. And also, don't wait behind the guy making a left turn. Get to the right.
Yes.
Like, just,
that's what common sense says.
Yeah. I was like, no, you just cut off a person in the lane and that I was trying to turn into. Like, you just... Nothing happened, but, like, that's why things happen. That... Just... Understand the... Like... be aware on the road, I guess.
I feel like people need to retake like driver's ed every
absolutely.
few years. Because it's just so many people who just don't know how to do it. I'm like, how did you pass your test?
Yeah. And I know like driving rules change throughout the years. Like when our parents took driver's ed, it was probably different rules. And then they realized, oh hey, we're really stupid on the road. Let's add some rules here and there. But yeah, it's just people on the road make me so mad.
I have one about driving too. Actually, maybe a couple. So people who tailgate.
Yeah.
And especially when I'm in the fast lane, already going like 15, like above the speed limit. Like, yo, I'm already going 15. Why are you on my ass?
Yeah. And
like, I'm that dude. I'll just slow down. Like, if I'm going to slam on my brakes, like, back up off me. And if you hit my car, guess what? We're in the state that we're in, yeah. So it's your fault. You should. Why just stop your brakes? Why are you half an inch behind me? You need me 2 to 3 car lanes. Go to school. And the other one, the people with the bright LED lights.
Yeah.
Like, you should probably be shot and then drawn and quartered for that. Like, your lights are too bright. I wish I could put, like, lights in the back of my car or something and, like, reverse flash them. Like, yeah, you like this? Have them crash off and go down a hole. I don't know. It just irks me because then, like, you're blind.
Yeah.
You can't see. And you're a hazard. Like, what are you doing? Get regular lights. They work.
Yeah.
They're fine.
And the same thing with, like, having high beams on, too. Like, sometimes I'll be going down, like, a dark side road and I have my high beams on, and if I see even a glimpse of another car,
if you even see the headlights in the distance, you turn it off. And then as soon as they pass, you turn it right back on.
Yeah.
That's easy.
Don't just... It's like, some people keep them on because it's like, oh, there's only one car, I can get through one. I'm like, no, like, you're affecting I can't see anything for, like, 5 seconds.
They're called high beams for a reason.
Yeah, like, driving. If I could, I would bike everywhere. I don't mind biking places, but then my bike got stolen.
As long as you... Oh, that's sad.
Yeah.
As long as you bike, but you don't become a cyclist. Oh, my gosh, that's another one.
Cyclists?
Yeah, okay, so this is actually a perfect segue. But, like, people who, like, identify as a cyclist. Like, I swear... I was
that's their gender?
I was reading... Like, one, they're dicks. They think they just have every right of way. I'm like, you're barely a person. Stop talking. And then, like, I was reading this article, and this person... My bad. And this person was saying how they're going to raise their son a cyclist. It's not a religion or a way of life. Like, you ride a bike. You can't raise your son or daughter a cyclist. What does that even mean? What? As soon as they come out, you're going to put them on a little tricycle? Are you going to...
They're just wearing a helmet 24/7?
Like, wearing a helmet. I'm like, if you wear a helmet 24/7, you're going to set off the wrong message to other people. But it's just like, they're obnoxious. And they're dumb little suits, too. I just hate everything about them. If you want to ride your bike, cool, go ahead.
So I feel, with anything, I think I might have said this on an episode before. Usually when I say, like, when you say cyclist, I don't picture every single cyclist. I picture the extreme cyclist.
And no, that's what I picture.
Vegans, and same thing with people, like, feminists even, and, you know, religious people as well. It's like, you can take it seriously, but don't shove it down our throats that you are one. Like,
so we are here because that's actually one of my other grievances.
That's just like an umbrella though, because that like happens there. There's extreme, like, there are extreme teachers who sometimes make an argument for teaching, and I'm sometimes I'm like, all right, like, there's a line. Like, yes, teachers should be paid more, and yes, they don't get enough respect, but also, like, sometimes it's just like, well, you have to work your way up to get paid as much as a principal or, like, an administrator. Mm-hmm. I'm just like, you can't ask for, like, equal wages as someone who hasn't seen the classroom in 10 years when they probably earned a master's and probably a doctorate, worked their way into that position.
Yeah, well, you know, like, that person versus a 22-year-old who, like, just finished.
Yeah.
Like, there's a big difference there.
Yeah. Like, sometimes there's a lot of issues that have legit fights to be fought, and then it's the extreme cases where I'm just like, guys, like,
calm down.
At a certain point you need to just fight what makes sense, not every little tiny thing. Yeah, there's an entire subreddit called Tumblr in Action, which is fantastic because it's about all the extreme, like, feminists and social justice warriors.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
those and are so funny.
And they just tear them apart. They're
good.
Yeah.
I
was in the other room. I would pull one up because it's just. I think I saw one the other day. It was somebody said it was like something Apache labeled, not like similar to a helicopter, but you like it's not named after the person. It's like the type of thing.
Yeah.
Right? And or after Native Americans, and it's like, and it was like the profile picture. They blanked out the name, but it was the profile picture was this bald, like chubbier person. We assume female because it fits the stereotype, they were like, oh, it's so nice of them to say Apache, just another case of white appropriation. And somebody was like, that it's not to do with the person. Like, it's just the name of the thing. Like, and it's a great subreddit.
I was in college, and I wish I could make this up. And, I'm a person, so if I see somebody behind me, I'm going to hold the door. Yeah. Like a person.
Yeah.
And so there's, like, this girl walking behind me, so, like, a goddamn person, I hold the door. And she, like, just goes off. She's like, why are you doing that? Are you assuming that because I'm a woman, I need you to do that for me? I'm like, first of all, no. Like, no, I'm doing this because it's like the kind of thing to do. Like, I was taught, hey, if somebody's walking even like mildly close behind you, wait and hold the door for them. It's just common courtesy. I don't give a fuck if you're a dog or a half bear or whatever. I'm going to hold the door for you. Like, I just cannot believe that in her mind, I thought she was like lesser or weaker.
Yeah.
So I needed to hold the door. Like, that's wild.
No, you were 2 feet behind me. That's why I held the door open. Like.
Yeah, like, you weren't far enough behind me where I could just walk in.
Yeah.
But, like, I was irate. I was fuming. And, like, it just blows my mind.
Was it just one door, or was it, like, a double... Like, were there 2 doors? Like a lobby of some sort? Or was it just one door?
No, it was just the one door.
Because I would have immediately closed
it. Tim, I
would have opened the first one and
buddy,
the second one.
You got it. Hoping. Like, I almost said, you know what? Just take a few steps back and I'll slam in your face. How about that, bitch?
Yeah.
But I didn't. I just walked away. I'm just like, I'm just not dealing with this. At all.
Yeah.
And I hate how... There was like a period of time where every single thing was mansplaining.
Yeah.
Like, just because somebody who happens to be male was correcting you when you're spewing things that are not right, that's not mansplaining.
Yeah,
I'm not like explaining how you walk. Okay, so first you take your left foot, put it. No, like, I'm correcting you when you're wrong. I'm not mansplaining. I'm fixing you because you're stupid. It's not my fault you're wrong. Like, if you weren't wrong, I wouldn't say anything. But because you're wrong on this topic, and I know for a fact that I'm right, I'm going to help you out. I'm not mansplaining. I'm enlightening you because you're dumb.
I think I mentioned it before. There was a girl I took a trip up to New York City like it's almost 2 months ago already. Now that's crazy.
Was it really that long ago?
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
Yo,
halfway through December.
I thought that was like last month, honestly.
Yeah, I know. And it was we did some me and my friend did some open mics, and we were talking to one girl who grew up from our state, from undisclosed locations. And but she was up in New York, and she'd been there, like, she went to school up there and has a job up there now, so I was talking to her a little bit. I was like, oh, yeah, you're the one from there, and we were chatting a little bit, and I said something about refining my set, because I said I did a mic before the one we met at, and I was like, I did a set that I've refined, and it still bombed. And she was like, oh, what do you mean, like, refined your set? I was like, oh, like, I just did enough times and I found out what jokes work where and what doesn't. She's like, oh, like, I know what refined means. I'm like, then why'd you ask? Like, and I was like, I don't, what? Like, you gave me a weird look and asked, what does refining mean?
So
I thought she meant, like, in terms of comedy.
Yeah.
I was like, I've refined my set, but it's not different than the normal definition of refined. It's not like a comedic term.
So did she, like, say what she was actually trying to say, or?
No, we just kind of moved on in the conversation. I was just like, oh, okay. And then she was a nice girl. Like, don't get me wrong. It was not a base of her character, but in that one instance, I was like, what?
Like, you see, like, your brain, like, being broken. Like, oh, wait, what just happened?
Because it ended up being me, my friend, her, and one of the other comics. At the last mic we hit, we all went to a bar and grabbed a drink afterwards. So it was like, we were fine. We were talking comedy, but in that one instance, I was like,
it's like, are you a person right now?
Yeah. So, yeah, just like extremists, basically. Like,
yeah,
extreme, anything.
Like CrossFitters,
yeah,
vegans. Like, have you seen those videos of them like protesting like in like a meat store or something like that?
No.
It was a video. They were like protesting and like screaming at people sitting in what's like a Chick-fil-A. It was something like that, and I'm just like, what? Why? Like, if that was me, if I'm eating at an establishment and you're going to be obnoxious, I don't want to, but I'm going to like throw meat at you. I'll just be like, hey, look, you want this? Eat it. Like, get out. Don't be a dick.
They're the vegan subreddit. I'm on Reddit a lot.
Couldn't tell.
But the vegan subreddit is very full of themselves. Like, they'll tweet like a vegan like meal, and they'll be like, "This is so good for the environment. I'm so glad I switched to veganism like 3 years ago. I can't. It's hard to imagine what it was like before." And I'm just like, "Shut up."
Right.
Like, just
like, they make it seem like this kind of profound, like, life altering, like mind shattering experience. You stop eating animal products. Whoop the fucking do.
Yeah, and I don't. That's the thing. Like, I know some vegans who are just vegans. Like, they just do their own thing, and they don't say, "Oh, have you tried this? Or tried that?"
I work with one. She's fantastic. I always forget. I'm like, "You want this?" I'm like, "Oh wait, I forget you're vegan because you're not shoving it down my throat every 2 seconds."
Yeah, like so. We teased a friend. Not about veganism, but it was the thing he kept repeating. He took a trip to Canada, and then every chance he could, he would bring it up in conversation. And then it got to the point it was in our old place of employment, me and Calvin's old place of employment, and Ryan's. And we had a group chat going, and he would say, like, first he was sending pics through the group chat of Canada. I'm like, we get it, you're in Canada for a week, like, we don't need a picture. Like, and then he kept bringing it up after he was like, "Oh, back when I was in Canada, you did this, or I had like a meal here, and I went to a restaurant, and it was so different than that." And then it got to some point where we would act like dumb. You're like, "Oh, you went to Canada?" And it took him a while to catch on to what we were doing.
He's so dumb.
Yeah, and we would like we'd just be talking. He'd be like, "Oh yeah, back in Canada." I'd be like, "Oh, you went to Canada?" He's like, "Yeah, I went to Canada a little while ago." I'm like, "We know." Like, the fact that you can't realize that you're repeating it over and over again, and then we're taking shots at you because of that.
You have no self-awareness. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like Michael Scott.
Oh, Michael Scott. Michael Scarn.
Michael Scarn.
Alright. Other grievances is... Oh, I got one that just happened the other day with my one friend. Shall remain nameless. She Snapchatted me saying, "I plan on getting drunk Saturday." This was yesterday. Mm-hmm. So this was on a Thursday. So we're recording on a Friday, in case you couldn't put that together. And she Snapchatted me. She's like, "I plan on getting drunk on Saturday." And I just responded with, "K," which is something I do to her all the time, because she'll just send me stuff I like. I'm like, I don't really care. Like, this is great.
Do I know this person?
You met her after my show a few weeks ago. I mean, you were also drunk. So,
like, met for the first time?
I believe it was for the first time. I don't know when you would have...
When you were in the showcase?
Yeah. We went to a restaurant afterwards.
Oh!
Yeah, there we go.
Oh, okay,
Yeah, so I responded with K, and then she responded with her, like, rolling her eyes at me. And I'm just like, I don't know why you're, like, doing that. Like, one, I don't, like, care if you want to get drunk or not. Like, it's your life. But also, like, if you're mad at me for not saying, "Sure, let's get drunk," you didn't say, me and you, or hey, let's get drunk this weekend, or hey, let's grab a drink. You just said I plan on getting drunk, and I'm just like, okay, then get drunk. Like, it's just like, and that's not the only time that's happened with other people as well. That's happened to people will be like, oh, I plan on doing this, and I'll be like, all right, and then they'll be like, no, like this is my invite. Then why didn't you just say
like now there's a few extra exchanges that are unnecessary because you can't properly communicate.
Yeah.
Like
adding a grievance.
I feel like that's along the lines of I hate it when people, and in my experience it's been like mostly like females, like they'll start thought in their head with like finish it out loud, and when I'm like, huh? They're like, are you not listening? I'm like, no, you didn't say a complete thought.
Yeah.
Like you can't start something in your head and like just not finish it.
Yeah.
Or they'll like start midway in the sentence. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like just speak English, speak the whole sentence.
Yeah.
It drives me insane. They're like, you didn't even listen to me. I'm like, I'm listening. You're just not speaking.
I added 2 communication grievances, so I feel like this is a good segue. One is, it's primarily a problem I've experienced on Bumble, but also in real life, or IRL, as the...
Let's edit that out.
No, that's staying. I'm the editor. Oh, there goes my cooling fan. That might be picked up. If you hear that's my computer. On Bumble, for those of you who may not know, girl goes first. That's the point of the app.
Yes.
Right? The girl responds first. So I'll get a match, and then nothing happens over that time frame. And I'm like, and then sometimes I'll use the extend, and sometimes it'll get their attention. And be like, oh, you extended me. Blah, blah, blah. So I guess this is a grievance in 2 parts, because one, the person will be like, oh, what did I do to get the extension? I'm like, you matched, and you're the one that has to start the conversation. You obviously matched up for a reason, and then that's also the case when they don't respond. I'm like, why aren't you, like, the ball is in your court to start the conversation.
Yes.
You obviously liked my profile to some extent.
And I've actually
this is the point of the app, is for you to do it.
Yeah.
And
I've actually been like going back and forth with it because like obviously, like they don't have to message you first, but the whole point of this one app is that you physically cannot communicate unless you start the conversation. So like so I understand like, oh, I don't have to, like, then like use a different app.
Yeah,
because like the whole point,
one of 17,943
like you,
different dating
like
apps.
You cannot communicate unless the woman starts the conversation. Yeah. So like either don't swipe, like unmatch immediately, or like actually respond, or like, and I find it even worse when like I message back and they just don't message again. Like there was a point.
Yeah. I was like, what did I do in that one message?
Like I responded.
Like, hey, how's it going? Good, how are you?
Blank.
Nothing.
So do you not care how I am? Okay. What if I'm dead now? That's when you're conscious. You're like, what am I talking to? Now what?
That happened to me over text too. Somebody literally texted me about an event that's happening later tonight.
Mm-hmm.
She texted me a few days ago and said, hey, what are you doing Friday? And I already had this plan over Facebook with another person involved.
Yes.
And she texted me, hey, what are you doing Friday? And I responded with going to the party. No response for like 6 hours. And then she was like, oh, like, glad to hear you were able to make it. I'm like, if you have enough time, and I understand work, if you're working during the day or if you're doing something, but if you have the time to send that initial text, and I respond right away, what happened in that, like, minute time span?
Nothing.
That you, like, just totally forgot you were texting me. Like what? Like, if you're taking the time to start a conversation, at least respond a few more times. Like, people. Also, just interrupting a conversation, but like when I'm already like 3/4 through of what I'm gonna say. Like if I say a few words and you didn't hear that first few words, and you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear you. That's fine.
Yeah.
It happens. But if I'm like halfway through a story, and you just didn't listen to any of it,
then that's on you.
Yeah, and then you start talking over that, not listening, but you start saying a new train of thought.
Oh no, you need to punch
him. I'm just like, what have you like?
Punch him in the throat.
Yep.
Kill them.
Right in the throat.
Kill them dead.
All the way dead. Not even a little bit.
So one of mine going to be approaching here in a few months that I just thought about. People who get extra mad about spoilers. So here's my position on spoiling.
This may be a controversial grievance.
Okay. Here's my... So, in this age of technology, where you have the choice to not view something, right? In my mind, I'm going to give you a week. Like, you can find time within...
For like, a movie or an episode? Because an entire series in a week.
Like, no. Like an episode. Okay. So, like, with Game of Thrones coming back in April.
Right, yeah.
I'm going to give you 1 week. After that, I'm going to post about it or say something about it. Like, you can find time within a week. And even movies, if it's past a certain time, like, if it's been out for a few months, like, that's on you. Like, you should have seen it by now. And, like, and you can just choose to not be on social media and not see it. Like, don't post anything. Don't log on. Like, don't let social media control your life where you are not logging on just to not, like, where you want to be, like, don't post this because I'm going to see it. You have the ability to just not log on.
So, I do have something to say, but first, this happened to one of... Same person went to Canada, actually. It was I think it was last year's, or 2 years ago now, Game of Thrones, because every season is like 2 years. It was the season finale of the last season 7.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah, season finale, season 7. And he was waiting for... This is a whole thing I could get into about why it didn't make any sense at all. But for the purpose of this discussion, he watched the first few episodes. We watched the first few episodes together. And then he stopped because his girlfriend was studying abroad for the summer. And he wanted to watch the rest with her. Like, he wanted to catch up and watch it. First of all, you've already watched half of the season. Why not just finish it out and then watch it again with her?
Yes.
Secondly, I tweeted... My exact tweet was, right as the episode ended and the big event happened, like, I typed, well, ... shit, hashtag Game of Thrones. That's all I typed. I'm not saying this was targeted against me, but that's what I typed, and I know he follows me on Twitter. Mm-hmm. So he tweeted, literally within a half hour of the show ending, like, to all of you who tweeted about Game of Thrones, fuck all of you, some of us didn't get the chance to watch it. Game of Thrones is the biggest show on television. Yep. Like, this wasn't like a very obscure season finale to a show that like 1 or 2 people were on. Like, if you're on Twitter between 9 and 10 p.m. on a Sunday night when Game of Thrones is on, you're seeing Game of Thrones on Twitter. And
like, that's what I'm saying. Like, you have the ability to avoid it. Like, just don't look for until you watch it.
Watch another movie that you haven't seen, or watch another series, or like go down a YouTube rabbit hole or something. Like, there's so many ways to distract yourself too. Like, just stay off Twitter for an hour. Like, and then don't get mad at people because you decide to stop watching it. Like, that's more of him specific. But
yeah. And see, even now, like, you like saying, like, when the big event happened, in my mind has been over a year. You should have watched it by now. I'm going to talk about it. You know, like, it's been a year.
I know.
Like, there's no way that you don't have time to watch it within a year. There's no way.
I know in this specific case, though, with the new season coming up, one of my friends who has watched it has gotten her friends on the hype train, and they're watching it in the lead up to the final season. Yeah, so like, they haven't seen anything.
Like, if you have...
So I'm like, in this...
So, like, if
you... 6 months ago, I probably would have said it, but now that I know people are watching the seasons for the first time to get ready for the final season, I'm gonna lay off a little bit.
If like, if I know you haven't caught up, I won't like say it to you like in your face. But if I'm already talking about it and you walk in, I'm not going to stop, or I'm not going to go out of my way so you don't hear it. So like talking about it now, like I would say it, because like I'm not going to go out of my way because you had over an adequate amount of time. And if you're watching the whole show, why would you pick the last season? You literally had 7 years. So like, this is on you at this point.
I mean, you can say it. I'll just edit over it. It's the beauty of recording. This isn't a live stream.
I just feel like there should be a statute of limitations on spoilers.
So I will agree with that grievance to an extent. I feel like I'm not going to blurt it out. I'm going to say, wait, have you seen this? / are you okay with me saying what happens?
Mm-hmm.
Because my mom, actually, sorry, my mom, but she said over Thanksgiving dinner, she told me how A Star Is Born ends. And I was planning on seeing it, but I haven't seen it yet because 1, money, and 2, the time to go, get home from teaching youths. And I just want to nap forever. So I didn't know, and I planned on seeing it. We were having a discussion about new movies coming out and, stuff like that. And she goes, she doesn't even, pause or ask anybody else. She saw it with my dad. Me and my brother haven't seen it yet. I don't know if my brother would see it anyway. But she was just like, it was weird at the end that this happened. I was like, what? Why would you just, blurt it, ask? Be like, hey, are you okay with me saying this? Or, hey, or sometimes, something happens and it doesn't affect, people think it's a spoiler, but then it actually doesn't affect,
yes,
the rest. It was, a minor thing that I can be like, hey, this happened, by the way. By the way, Peter Baelish was in a scene. Yeah. Spoilers alert, man. Which actually happened to me, too.
In that scenario, that shouldn't have happened because it's, recent enough where people might have not have seen it. But, I was talking to somebody at work, and we were, talking about, I think, Marvel, and they were like, don't spoil Infinity War. If you haven't seen that by now, it's on you. That happened in May.
Yeah.
The second one drops in a few months. Come on.
If you don't know, first of all, it became very meme heavy.
That too.
And then I'm like, if you don't know the context of it, then come on.
There's a limit at some point. I'm not going to walk around you.
Sometimes I feel like the internet does go a little overboard with assuming everybody's seen it. But Infinity War is the 3rd grossing movie ever. Behind Titanic and Avatar.
Still, how Avatar made it up that high is beyond me.
Because of the effects. Reddit did a full discussion about
this. No, but it's because the story is so basic.
Yeah, but that's because he waited to have the
20
technology.
Years.
Yeah.
And he's waiting. Movie. And he's waiting again and making 2, 3, 4 at the same time.
I think he's making 4 sequels. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's I'm curious to see how those sequels do. But that was the reason. It was because the effects were awesome and people saw it in the IMAX.
I mean, I'm not
theaters
gonna lie.
were cool.
I saw it 3 times.
Yeah, I saw it once on a cruise ship.
Ooh, that's fun.
Because every day they would play a movie in the cabins.
Oh, yep.
On the cycle, right?
The first time I saw Shutter Island, I saw it 5 times because I was seasick on a cruise. So I just watched that. I'm like, this is so good.
So, yeah, so I watched it on the cabin. So, well, that's why I didn't get the hype because I didn't see the visual effects. But that's part of the reason I didn't want to see it in theaters because I was like, everybody's complaining about the story, and that's why I want to see a movie. You can make it awesome and visually awesome.
I mean, the effects were...
Yeah, they were. I'm not going to deny it. I'm willing to say he did really good in this part, but he did really bad in this part.
I mean, the story...
And I'm willing to say I think him as a person, he's a jackass. But,
James Cameron?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But Terminator and Terminator 2 were good movies. Something else he did early on. Alien, right? He did Alien. The first one, I think.
Did he? I thought that was...
No, that was Ridley Scott.
Yeah.
He did...
Titanic.
He did 2 Titanic, which he basically added. Again, it was a great visual movie, but the Jack and Rose story was pretty unnecessary to,
Oh, yeah. Aliens. 86.
Huh. So he did do this. I thought he did one of those.
Yeah, he did Aliens.
Yeah. So, like, he's not that bad of a filmmaker. Like, he has his good movies. I just think Avatar is not one of those movies because it's Pocahontas, which is Dances with Wolves. Like, it's literally the same plot.
Yeah, and it's like the same. It's like that. Like, white man is a better indigenous than the indigenous person.
Yeah.
That was similar in I didn't see it, but like The Great Wall, Matt Damon.
Yeah.
The Last Samurai with Tom Cruise. How is he a better samurai than the samurai? Like, come on.
So apparently with The Great Wall, I don't know how true this is because it came from the actors on set and maybe they embellished it a little bit. Apparently casting Matt Damon in that role was like totally fine with everyone that helped make the movie, like the cast and the crew and everybody, because he wasn't playing like a famous Chinese person that they whitewashed. He was an American, I guess, in the movie.
Oh,
then I didn't see the movie, so I don't really know.
Then that's
And everybody, again, with the extreme social justice.
If that's the case,
like,
then I think that's fine.
Yeah, but like Tom Cruise in The Last Samurai was like, really, you couldn't get like an Asian actor to do this role?
He was like,
seen that movie,
okay, so in that one, they were at war and he was like an American soldier and he was like wounded or something like that, and then they like took him in. But then there's no way that in that short amount of time he became like a better samurai than all of them. Like, that's what I have a problem with. Like, just be a part of them and just get your ass beat, because that's what would happen in real life.
Yeah.
Ooh, speaking of extreme, are you another Grievances? Are you familiar with what's happening with Baby It's Cold Outside?
Yeah.
So here's why everybody against it is stupid. If you look. One, if you just look at the lyrics, it's actually about like female empowerment, because it's like she wants to bang this dude, but
that's what people don't understand.
But like all of her sayings are like, what will they think? What will they think? Because in the 50s when this was written, you don't have sex as a woman unless it's like your husband.
Yeah.
So she was like, oh, I'm not married, I want to do this, and people are like, okay, well, what about that line? What's in this drink? In that time period, that's basically saying, oh, there's nothing in here, this is light. That's it. Yeah. That is it. And people are trying to make it this thing. I'm like, no. Look at the time period it was written. Look at the actual lyrics. Yeah. It's her saying, I wanted this, but what are they going to say?
She wants to stay. That's the whole point of the song. It's not like he's forcing her to stay. She's going against society to stay.
And then even if you look at, and then like it happens every day, you're at a bar. If your friend's leaving and you don't want him to leave, what are you going to say? Oh, come on, man, stay. That's what was happening in the song. That's what was happening. Like you're like, oh, man, just stay. Have a couple more. I'll do this. I'll do that. Like this reason. It's the exact same thing. People are being stupid. It's a whole part of this new over the edge, over the top social justice bullshit.
That's what I think I was watching a video. We're reading something on Reddit probably about. People always say, like, oh, like, making movies and TV shows, like, what they do now, they couldn't get away with back then. And people are like, actually, you probably could, because they weren't as, like, maybe, like, the sex was a little more taboo. But, like, stuff that happened in the movie, like, so much outrage happens today when you push the line. Like, they probably wouldn't have cared 50 years ago.
Not at all.
Yeah, like, making it dark and gritty and pushing the line with jokes and stuff, and people are like, no, like, actually, like, we probably could have done that 50 years ago, like.
Yep.
So, this whole thing with, I know this is controversial, but the whole thing with Kevin Hart and the Oscars, too, like, I don't know what he tweeted in his past days, so I don't really
know.
But the immediate backlash is, like, this happens with anyone.
And here's my problem, like, everybody, every single person has said things in their past.
Yeah.
Why should that be brought up now? Like, who's the director for Guardians? James Gunn. Yeah. Those were so many years ago. And like with athletes, especially when like they're coming out of college, what you say as a middle or high schooler should not affect your draft stock. You're not that same person that you were 6 years ago. Like you shouldn't have to apologize for it. Like, oh hey, I made this joke when I was 14 years old. Yeah. And before all of these things were an issue, like 10 years ago when I was 14, you could say the F-bomb for gays. You could say the R word for special ed people. And like, some people might like look at you, but you wouldn't get crucified for it.
Yeah.
But let's say I'm an all-star athlete in college. I made a joke about that 10 years ago. My draft stock is now being hurt because of something that was okay at that time.
Yeah.
Like, it's so dumb.
So I remember there's I'm not a fan of the R word.
No, same. Yes.
Yeah, but with the F word for gay people, I was watching this video on YouTube, and he used the word in a joking way, not a derogatory way. It was something to do. It was a wrestling video, something to do with the story. I forget exactly what, because then they re-uploaded the video without him saying that. Then the next video, this was a weekly video he does. He came out and the first thing he said was like, "Hey, I got some backlash like about using that word. I apologize. It wasn't derogatory. It was about explaining the situation, not like any person or individual, like group of people specifically. All this stuff." And the top comment on the video was like, "As a gay man, I hate that you have to apologize for using that word." Like.
And like it's all
like, I mean, I know it's a YouTube comment, so like who knows if that guy was here, but like the fact that
I feel like it's all about your intent.
Yeah, like, well, I was reading about how Brooklyn Nine-Nine handles the gay character, which right. So like their gay jokes are funny because it's not insulting to the gay community.
Like you can't like you can't. Be like, oh, you're gay, like, you can't say that.
Yeah.
But if it's like in the sense of humor, and like you don't mean like in that sense, then it's fine. But if people want to like view their own intent on things, like, oh, he meant this. No, I didn't. I meant this. But I can.
Well, Chris D'Elia made a great point in his podcast a few episodes ago. He said that most of the time it's people on the left that fight for social justice against the right, but then sometimes it goes too extreme and you end up just being that same person because people are like, because the point he brought up, I'm paraphrasing, I don't remember exact words, was that they fight for like actors, because he's somewhat an actor, mainly a comedian, but he knows Hollywood well enough, and he's like, people complain that like people don't play the role that they actually are in person. He's like, one, that's why it's acting. And two, if you do that enough times and you're just saying this person should only be this person, that person should only be that person, how is that different than what you're fighting against, saying these people should only be in these groups of things? Like,
like the people who get upset with like a non-gay person portraying a gay character. He is an actor. Like, this is not like you go to the movies to see something that's not real. Like, this is not real life. Why does it matter? It's acting.
Like, I know one of my friends he rides the line of like, he's a big theater guy. He's a talented guy in theater. But sometimes he just does Facebook rants and I'm just like, dude, like, we get representation is important, but sometimes it's just like, if you don't have enough people, I'm not saying cast a white person as a black person, like in Hairspray, when I was in Hairspray, we needed to get more black actors and actresses from other colleges because that's the whole point of the show. Like, you can't really have an all-white cast in Hairspray.
Yes.
Right. But sometimes it's just like, if the part isn't pivotal on the race or the gender, and you find someone to play it, like, why not go with it? Then you're excluding them from an opportunity. Like, I get straight white men in theater are the minority in theater, and a lot of people don't like them getting roles, but it's like, sometimes you might just need to have them play gay, or have a gay person play straight. Like, it's like... We got serious.
I mean, these are grievances. Like,
this was a deep grievance. We started off really petty, and then it just devolved.
Oh, do I have any more written down? I do not.
You don't have any? I mean, we went on a little bit of a rant there. What else? Repeating yourself. Another thing my mom does a lot. Oh, moms. Like, and other people do it too, but we'll start off the conversation and she'll say like, "Oh, did you like check this, by the way, or did you follow up on that?" And then like throughout the conversation, she's like, "Don't forget to follow it, don't forget." And then she'll like text me the next day, "Follow it." I'm just like, I know, like it's on my list to do.
Yes.
Like she used to, what bothered me so much is she used to leave me notes when I was in high school, because on our staircase I used to put everything I needed for the day, like my books and my keys and wallet and all that, on a part of the stairs as I was getting ready upstairs. And she would literally just write a note and leave it, because I would leave for high school before she got up for work. She would leave a note like the night before saying like, "Don't forget this, don't forget." I'm like, I know what to do. Like, it's my life and my school. Like, I know I'm the one experiencing all this stuff. Like, I know what to bring and what not to bring. Like, I know what to follow up on and not follow up on. Like,
have you seen the meme that's going around now? It's like me planning to do something versus like when somebody tells me to do something that I was already planning to do.
No.
Like, it just makes you not want to do it. Like, say I'm planning to wash the dishes, right? Like, I'm planning it, and then my mom's like, "Hey, Tony, wash the dishes." I'll be like, "Look, I was already going to do it. Like, now I just don't want to because you don't want to do it."
Yeah, because now you're banging it through.
Like, I already planned on doing it. I said I was going to do it. Don't why tell me again? Like, I said, "Hey, I'll do this." Don't be like, "Hey, wash them." I'm doing it. I already know. Urky.
Yeah, or like, "No, I plan on doing it, but I need to get this thing done first." So
yes.
I didn't tell you every little detail of my life that I was doing.
Yeah, so let me prioritize.
Yeah, like if you tell me and then like 6 hours later it's not done, as a parent I'd be like, "Hey, get on it." But
yes.
like, even an hour later, I'm just gonna be like, "Yeah, like, give him some time, and if he doesn't do it, then we'll get on. Don't ask him to do it."
It just makes me not.
If I don't do something in the 15 minutes you asked me to, it's probably because I'm doing something else, or that it can wait. Like, empty the dishes. Like, sorry, it can wait 15 minutes because it's like 3 o'clock in the afternoon and nobody's eating anything. Like, we're not having dinner for like another 4 hours. Like,
oh my god, yo. Another grievance I haven't had to deal with this in years, but "Hey, Tony, go clean your room because we're having company over." Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't know what happened the Christmas party in my goddamn bedroom.
Yeah.
I would hate it so much. Like, and like most of the things that like my parents asked me to do, like, I understand now looking back.
Yeah,
but this is the one, like, one of the few things I just don't understand. Like, nobody ever went up to my room.
Yeah.
Why did I need to clean it for this event? If they had said, "Hey, while you're cleaning up, it's kind of messy, go ahead and clean your room too," that's fine. But the fact that they associated the party downstairs with my room upstairs when nobody entered, that's what still bugs me. Why? For what reason?
Something my mom used to do would ask me to set the table, and then like dinner wasn't even close to being done yet.
Oh, me too.
Yeah. I'd be like, I don't mind setting the table when you have like 5 minutes to go, or like you're prepping the food, or like the dish is finished and you're like plating it, for lack of a better word.
Okay, somebody watches Food Network.
I mean, yeah. Who doesn't watch Food Network?
Like, I actually don't watch Food Network.
What?
Like, if it's on, I'll watch it, but I'm not like, "Yo, let me go watch an episode of Chopped."
Chopped,
that's not
Kitchen.
Me.
What else is on? I mean, that's like
the only cooking show I watch is Hell's Kitchen, because I love seeing grown men being broken by another grown man. Like, if a grown man like yelling at you makes you cry, you're soft. Like, come on.
It's just, I used to watch Hell's Kitchen.
I love Gordon Ramsay.
Well, no, not Hell's Kitchen Nightmares. I used to watch that a lot, but it became so like formulaic.
Yeah, see, I never.
was like, oh, I can watch 5 episodes and know exactly what's gonna happen. Like,
yeah, like, I never liked that one.
Yeah, I didn't mind it at first, but then I was like, it's just the same thing with like Restaurant Impossible. It's like, yeah, you're gonna do it, and then you fought in Bar Rescue too. Bar Rescue is kind of cool though, because sometimes
John Taffer's dope.
Yeah, and sometimes he just like lashes out at people.
Oh, it's the best.
Yeah, but most of those bars failed too. That's fun.
Yeah,
that's a really funny thing. That was another thing I saw on Reddit. They were like, I'll Google like the restaurants that were on just to see what happened, and like 75% of them failed because they don't change the owner. That was an Ask Reddit. That's what I was thinking about. There was an Ask Reddit. There were like people who have been on reality shows, like, what happened that we didn't see, and people are like, the restaurant failed because the owner's an idiot. Like, you can't change that in a 3-day span. You can try, but they stuck to a business model. And then other bars were like, one person owned 3 bars and they were successful in the area. They just did the show to get a free renovation and exposure, and they just added all the drama. They're like, they own 2 other bars in the area and are doing fine. They didn't need the show to like save them.
Dang.
Yeah. So
the more you know.
Yeah. Boom, boom, boom. All right. I'm sure we'll have more grievances for opening segments in the future.
Oh, come on. These are not nearly all my grievances. I was
gonna say we could do an entire like telethon grievances.
People call and then we discuss their grievances. Oh my god.
Alright. Well, let's still do some questions. One that came to mind the other day. What are some of your favorite / underrated / underappreciated albums?
Most of Lupe Fiasco's. Cause he's just so goddamn good, and you just don't hear about him.
Yeah, I kind of don't know the last time I heard about him.
And he put out an album this year. It was fire, absolute fire.
I have 3.
Mm-hmm.
One is American Idiot.
Which one do you think that is?
What?
You said underappreciated, underrated, and...
I think it's underappreciated because when people say, name your favorite albums, unless they're like a hardcore Green Day fan, I've never heard. This is in my friend circle. I'm not speaking... I didn't survey the world. Because
I feel like that's a very like popular album.
It is, but that's what I'm saying, that it is popular, but no, it's never the first or even the second thing people say. It always takes them a while to get there. And that entire album is like its own story.
Like, I like the album, but like it's not one of my favorites.
Well, that's not the question. The question is about mine.
No, but I think there's a difference between it being underrated and it being people's like personal favorites, you know?
I mean, then wouldn't that be underrated?
Just because it's not your favorite?
Like not enough people enjoy
it? Everybody hated Kobe Bryant, but he was not underrated by any means. You know, like, so like, just because it might not be in there, like, you can acknowledge something. You can acknowledge that something is like fantastic, but it might not be your personal favorite. So like, I feel like,
but you still talk about it. I'm saying not a lot of people even like talk about American Idiot as an album.
I mean, that's because it's also so old. Like,
I mean, also yes.
Yeah, I feel like if it was more, I feel like when it was popping, like it was like nobody talks about like any of the Chili Peppers old albums, but they were phenomenal. You know.
Well, I feel like Green Day as a whole is just like they released another album, 21st Century Breakdown, and then they released 3 albums in like a short span, or like they released like 3 at once, and I'm like, oh yeah, like they're still going strong. Like,
oh, this is recently?
Yeah.
Oh,
it was like 3 years ago. I don't know how they were in it, but they were one of the first likes I did on Facebook because I got Facebook in 2010, and they still pop up with like updates and tours and like releasing albums. I'm just like, good for them.
Yeah, I did not know that they were still making music.
Yeah. Other albums, Songs About Jane by Maroon 5.
Okay.
Because they've gotten really poppy as of late,
and
Songs About Jane is a very good album because of the way they sounded, and they were slightly different and now it's just like I can't really tell them apart from most pop songs now. But This Love, Sunday Mornings.
Fun fact about
She Will Be Loved.
Fun fact about This Love, when that line to keep her coming every night, I thought it meant like to keep her coming back.
Yeah.
But then like I heard the song on the radio like 5 years ago, so like fairly like late after the song came out, and they like bleeped it out. I'm like, yo, why would they do that? I'm like, oh, he meant that way.
Yeah. I
was like, oh. But no, that album is fire.
That's what got me too, because one, when that song came out, I didn't know about that word. 2, it makes sense the other way. Like,
no, it makes sense both ways.
Yeah,
but
so I didn't think anything of it because it already made sense. I wasn't like, this is a really weird lyric, but I guess it's like, it's like, it was makes one of those, perfect sense.
Like, it makes sense, but then it makes like, oh.
But then you're like, yeah. So I don't know if he did a double entendre on purpose or if
on L&B, he probably did.
I mean, probably, yeah. My last album, kind of obscure. Everybody knows the one song off of it, but it's actually, the entire album is really good. The album is called Welcome Interstate Managers. And it is Fountains of Wayne, who sang Stacy's mom. So everybody knows Stacy's mom. Everybody knows that song. But the album that song is on is actually really good. It just, Stacy's mom became the most popular song and people forget the rest of the album. It's pretty good. Also, they won Best New Artist at the Grammys after releasing their third album. Somehow that's new.
That's so funny.
Also, they're named after a landscaping store up in Wayne, New Jersey. Fountains of Wayne. It was a landscaping school. The reason I know that is because when I was in high school band, if we missed a lesson, whether you had a test or you're absent in school that day, you had to write a 1-page paper, not late formatted or anything, just a paper about something music related. And I was listening to that album at the time, and I decided I knew they won Best New Artist at their third album, so I did some more research. I was like, oh, they're named after a landscaping store in North Jersey.
Oh, I have another album. The Arctic Monkeys album a few years ago.
A few years ago, or a few years ago? I remember when they were kind of almost the original hipster band. Because my brother and one of his friends loved them. But whenever I brought it up to anybody in school, they were like, "Who
has it been that long?"
I don't know what album you're talking about. That's the thing. But
I'm talking about
the most popular music, or did they release some later on that you just think flew under the radar?
No, not AM. With Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High, Arabella, Snap Out of It. Yeah, that was a very good album, but everybody only knows Why Do You Only Call Me When You're High. Bro, that whole album is just fire.
That's the thing. I think people forget one or two songs can be good, but it's usually because the entire album is good.
And okay, I think there's in my opinion, I think there's been a shift in that. So years ago, I first got into Linkin Park because I was you ever on the music? Were you ever on the music site iMeme?
Sorry, what'd you say? I was pulling up Ask Reddit.
Were you ever on the music site iMeme?
iMeme?
IMEEM.
I did. LimeWire.
Okay. No. So this was after LimeWire got shut down.
Yeah, because
so I was on
your computer.
Yeah. So I was on iMeme and I was watching AMV videos of Dragon Ball Z and stuff like that.
Okay.
It was an awesome website. So, but now they got overtaken by MySpace. But anyways,
MySpace is
they're still alive.
Yeah,
but it's mainly music now.
And also owned by Justin Timberlake.
Wait, what?
Yeah, Tom sold his stock for $300 or $400 million.
That's crazy.
Somebody tried to tweet at Tom, and they're like, "Oh man, too bad you couldn't hold your website long enough to compete with Facebook and Twitter and stuff." He's like, "I sold my website for $500 million. I'm not complaining."
Yeah, that's crazy.
And it's Tom with his
But what was I talking about? Okay, yeah. So and that's how I first found out about Linkin Park. And I was like, oh, this song's good. And then I found them, and every song was that good. And I feel nowadays you'll hear a hit, and then you find the album, and it's subpar. It's 1 or 2 hits, or maybe even 3. But I feel back then, almost every song on the album was a banger, and it was fantastic.
Well, that's what happened with me and Fall Out Boy, because first of all, from under the cork tree.
You guys have falling out?
Leave immediately. But on their not their second album, but their Infinity on High, I think was the album that came after, and their song was called Thriller, but it was not Thriller Michael Jackson. It was their own song that they just happened to name the same. And my brother didn't know that. And he was like, oh, they did a rendition of Thriller. Like, cool. I was like, no, it's their own song. Like, he's like, but it's called Thriller. I'm like, yeah, but have you listened to the album? That's why. Like, yeah, I was like, I forget what else. I think there were a couple good songs that came off of that.
Mm-hmm.
And then they just released one last year or 2 years ago. The one with the kids on the cover.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Like the brothers.
Yep.
Yeah.
I've heard a couple times. It's pretty solid.
Yeah. I don't know. I've been listening to old throwbacks on Spotify as of late, just kind of like, just because I like American Idiot, how there's no transition from the song to song. They just kind of keep going and it tells a story. And I'm like, oh, their albums are good. The number 2 right now on Reddit, Ask Reddit, what is the stupidest thing you have ever said in a classroom? And this could be other people too, because maybe a classmate said something stupid. I have 2.
Okay,
one is me, the other is my friend.
Okay, you talk laughing.
Okay. One was my junior year of high school. It was a Monday. My algebra teacher was really good, and he was the perfect balance of friendly with the kids, but not like too personal with the kids. He was a great teacher, and he was complaining about it being Monday, and so as we were walking out, I was talking to him and one of my friends who was in the class, and as we're getting ready to go to my next class, I was like, oh, I wonder if Monday Night Football's on tonight. While the entire period we were talking about how it was Monday. I immediately caught myself, but the words did escape before I was like, oh yeah. The second thing was my friend who I was in marching band with, was one of my best friends in high school. They just released the new $5 bill when they redid the right, and one of the 5s on the back is purple. So he's looking at all the new details they added, and he's like, oh, it's really cool that they made like that 5 purple. It's a different color than you see. He's like, well, if they made all of the money purple, and he's like, or what if they made it red? Or what if they made it green? And I'm just like,
oh, you idiot!
I was like, you're holding a $5 bill right now. And he looks at it and then looks at me and goes, oh. I was like, yep, green money. That's a.
I can't think of one for me because I've said a lot of dumb stuff. But it was sophomore year. It was world history, world geography. Well, one of those two. No, it was world history, but like we were talking about like it was a lot of geography too. So we were talking about something, and somebody, this dumb boy, said something about how like the Russians. Like how Russia was in the Middle East.
Nope.
And I'm just like, sir.
Yeah.
We are in world history. We just learned about this. Why do you still think it's in the Middle East? And then he was adamant. I'm like, okay. What continent is it on? And he was like, oh, it's in Europe. I'm like, okay. So how's that the Middle East? Because that's in Asia.
Like 2/3 of it is in Asia, though.
But it's considered Europe, though. Like nobody considers Russia.
Yeah, you don't think.
Yeah. So like.
And most of people live in Europe because Siberia exists.
Exactly.
Russia does extend.
But I'm talking about the main part.
Yeah.
He meant
parts. It's not the Middle East.
yeah. Like either way, I'm just like, dude, like you're so dumb.
Yeah. When you think Middle East, you think like Iraq or Iran and Saudi Arabia and then Russia. Like, how does that? Like, what is your correlation?
Yeah. And then this wasn't in class, but my dad, I don't know, he didn't think that the Middle East was in Asia. And I was like 12, and it was like the first time I'd ever been like right up about something. I'm like, all right, Dad, let's break this down. Is it on Antarctica? He's like, no. No, it is. I'm like, cool. Is it in Australia? I'm like, no. I'm like, awesome, good.
So we're down to 5.
Yeah, I'm like, is it on North America? He's like, no. I'm like, South America? No. I'm like, Europe? No. What's the other one? I'm forgetting one. Oh. It's funny because I'm black. I was like, all right, Dad, is it in Africa? He's like, I don't think so. I'm like, then where else? I'm like, then it has to be Asia. He's like, oh yeah. I'm like, where do you think it was? The middle of the ocean? So that was fun.
Geography, man.
I know.
I saw this. It's really funny meme. It was probably a few years ago. It was like what people think I do, what my parents think I do.
I actually do, yes.
And there was one where it was like when a new student comes in and they say they're Asian, and it was like what people think, and it was like, you know, like a gangster Asian, and then it was like a nerd Asian and all that stuff, like what I think, and it was a dude from India.
Yeah,
actually,
like people forget that, like, yo, they're like they're technically Asians, like they're.
I mean, they are like in India and Pakistan and all those countries like, are like underneath China, like
yeah.
Well, not underneath, but like not that far away, you know, like.
If you're going by their continent.
I mean, some are closer to Africa, but they're not in Africa.
Yes. Like, they're Indian, but they're also Asian because they live on the continent. Just like South American. All those countries are Americans. They're just South Americans.
That's one way to think about it, yeah.
Yeah, you know. Like, you're German, but you're also European.
We had this debate when we went to the beach 2 years ago. Last year and a half ago, I don't know, where North America ends and South America starts, and what's considered Central America, and we were trying to figure out the exact lines of it. We were like, but aren't there a few countries south of Mexico that are considered North America, and what's Central America, and what's...
Is it?
See, we didn't get a definite answer,
like,
because we were on a car ride and none of us...
The only countries I know on North America is... The U.S., Mexico, Canada. Yeah. I don't know any of those. Jamaica, maybe? And you know what? I don't know. I
mean, the Caribbean is a whole new
thing. Now, that's where you get gray.
Yeah.
Now, if he had said something about that, I'm like, I'm not going to say anything. But the fact that he thought that the Middle East was not in Asia blew my mind.
Well, that's a little bit. I Googled, it was like... It's probably S-credit. It's about like country you've been and stuff, and I was trying to think. I was like, because I've been to Bermuda on a cruise and I've been to the Bahamas on a cruise. Apparently, Bermuda isn't considered a country; it's a British like territory.
Province, territory, whatever.
Yeah, but the Bahamas are its own independent country. So I'm like, I guess that counts as a country, and Bermuda doesn't. Like of countries I've been to, like all of them. So I guess it counts because I have been to England. So I guess Bermuda just counts as England. Like
I guess how like Puerto Rico for us, kind of, sort of, except a lot closer than the Bahamas are to England. At least I think. Again, I'm not too good at geography. I don't really know.
So mind-blowing geographical stat. The closest U.S. state to Africa is Maine.
You go from all white, all black.
Yeah.
That's funny.
I said that at a party a few weeks ago. My friend's like, nah. And like literally the entire park, you pull up a map and like everybody on the side of the conversation was like, holy crap, it is.
So if you want to fly to Africa, fly out of Maine because it's shorter.
Yep, because of the way it's
the
top part of Africa. And also the Samoas, what's going on there?
I don't know.
There's American Samoa and then the island of Samoa, and they're two different.
I just stopped trying
all those islands. I remember learning about World War II in high school history, and they were discussing the Pacific, like the Battle of the Pacific, and we are just like, wait, so what? Where did all these islands come from? And how come we never learned of them before? They're like, oh, there's Samoa, there's Midway Island.
They just popped up out of nowhere.
Yeah, it's like, oh yeah, they were just islands. Like it's not just water from Hawaii to Japan. Like there's other places. I mean, I guess that makes sense. Like. 14-year-old me was just like, what?
It's mind-blowing stuff.
Yeah. Trying to think of another question, but I could do a really interesting one. Take another serious turn into the Sqwadcast first. When were you the bad guy in someone else's story? That I've seen that on a few times.
And like actually the bad guy, and not like this fictionated version of myself.
No, like in real, like in real.
No. But like, was it like actually the bad guy? Or like, did they just say I was the bad guy?
From their point of view, you could have been considered the bad guy. So like, if it was a friendship that just dwindled,
and nobody really did anything wrong, and you guys just drifted apart, that's not really like a thing. But if you look back and you're like, you know what, I should have handled that a little better. Would you like me to start again?
I mean,
because I have one occasion I'm like, yeah, that girl. No.
I mean, if you have if you there go one. Oh wait, no. Yeah. I have one. So in college, I was like hooking up with this girl. Like we were fuck buddies, whatever you want to call it. And she wanted to date me. I'm just not looking for a relationship right now. Which wasn't like I just didn't want to date her, but you can't say that. Because honestly, I was horny. I didn't want the sex to stop. So,
Yeah.
So that was already a bad move on my part. But then I was just like, you know what? We just need to stop this because I don't want to mess you up. She was like, oh, thanks. So I dated somebody else like 2 weeks later, like actually dating. Yeah. And then like obviously she found out. I don't even know how, but I'm like, oh, yeah, I was the bad guy in that. Like I was not a good person for that.
I'm gonna say mine, and then I had another grievance that came up. And I don't want to forget about it. But there was a girl I hooked up with 2 years ago now? Wow. 2 years ago. Yeah. Yes? No. 3 years ago. I don't know. Some time ago.
So many women just run up there.
Yeah. And no, because I remember the apartment I was in. I can't remember the address. So we hooked up. We matched on Tinder. We matched over the summer, but like nothing ever came to fruition. It was a lot of like just texting and some naughty Snapchats. One that caught me completely.
Why did you just say the word naughty?
I don't know. NSFW Snapchats? You want me to phrase it that way?
Better than naughty.
Anyway, but things like never, like I said, that was the semester I was taking 22 credits. So I was like, I didn't really have free time because...
That's possible. I mean, like, at my school, like, they capped you at 18.
Well, mine was because I had one extra class before student teaching, and they're like, we're not going to keep you... Because student teaching is either in the fall or the spring. So they're not like... You can't... Obviously, you can't do it over the summer. So they're not like... They were like, hey, like, we're not going to make you take one class in the spring and delay student teaching until the fall. They were like, you can take this extra class so you student teach on time. And so, yeah, I wasn't really thinking about anything during that semester because I was just overwhelmed with life. And then we hooked up near the end of the semester, and then the holidays happened, and things we didn't really talk again, mostly on my end, because I was just like I found her really hard to like talk to. Other stuff was fine.
Okay.
But like it was a lot of short answer. It was a lot of like yeah, a lot of like 8th grade like short text too. Like,
I've been there recently. I'm just like I'm over this.
Yeah, like I didn't know. I'm willing to admit, at 23 or 24, however old I was at the time, I did not know what WID meant because I never used it and none of my friends ever used it. So she texted me once with WID and I was like, what? And she was like, what are you doing? I was like, oh, why not just say that? Like,
oh,
but that was her conversation like all the time.
Oh, I hated the
words.
I hated the WID. I wanted to stab him in the face with a knife.
So I could have been the bigger man and said, hey.
Well, the only man, but
and just been like, hey, like, I find in a good way to say it, like, hey, I find it's hard for me to talk to you like over text. Like, I appreciate the other stuff, but I'm looking for something a little more full. I don't want to be that person who just has sex and that's it. Like, I'm looking like it's a struggle.
Oh, Tim.
Yep. And then I just ghosted her because I was like, that's the easiest way to do it. We matched again. So, well, I was swiping and I like didn't realize it was her. I kind of just did a really fast swipe. I was like, oh, she looked familiar, and then she matched. I was like, oh, yep. So we went on our technically second date. Like,
you went over there again?
Well, because I was in the mindset of like, hey, like I should probably just try to get over it or explain it, not like
after you ghosted her.
Yeah. Because I was like, hey, like I probably should have just told you, or I should probably just tried to get through it, not just like been like, hey, this one thing bothered me, so I'm not going to talk to you ever again. So we did go out again. I think we actually went out two more times after that. But, like, I just could not get over the way she texted. So I ghosted her again.
Oh, my. You're such a dick.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
So I was just like, I like, couldn't, like, I was trying to find the line of, like, we touched on it in the dating episode. I was like, have we gone out enough for me to quote unquote break up with her? Like,
she at least deserves a text.
Hey, you text really bad. Sorry, I can't.
Or just be like, hey, I don't see this working out. Thanks.
Yeah.
You don't even have to say why. You don't owe them explanation.
See, I took that. I don't know an explanation, so why should I even text her at all? Like, so to her, I was definitely that guy, and I'm willing to admit that, and I've grown from that experience.
I mean, as long as you can admit that, like, you are a human and make mistakes, okay.
Yeah. Now I forget my grievance. I had a grievance that was somewhat related to what we were talking about. Oh. Terms becoming too general. Like, memes. The word meme has become so general and so big that it's lost its true definition of what a meme is.
Mm-hmm.
People will post on Reddit if somebody has like a witty or sassy reply to a tweet, and it's 2 tweets, and they're like, oh, this meme is awesome, and it's posted to like the subreddit dank memes, and it gets like 6,000 upvotes. I'm like, it's not even a meme, it's a reply, it's a tweet. Like,
oh, I didn't heard of that. That's ridiculous.
And it's like, it's just like anything funny on the internet is just a meme.
Oh,
and
I don't like that at all.
I'm just like,
I don't like that one bit.
And also the term, what triggered it in my head was when you said hooking up, and sometimes hooking up is a very broad definition.
It'll change based on the person, and also how you use it. Because if you say, yeah, me and her hooked up last night, the assumption might be you guys had sex. But if you say, yeah, like, we hooked up at the bar, unless you guys are some freaks, you just made out.
Yeah.
So like, it all also depends upon who you are and how you say
Well, that's the thing that threw me off guard was one of my friends hooked up with somebody, but it was after a party or a gathering of some sort, and we were talking about it in a group of friends. I think it was like 2 days later. She was like, yeah, we hooked up like back in my dorm. I was like, I don't know. Like teasing her, but like happy, but like teasing her. And she's like, wait, why are you doing that? I was like, I mean, you hooked up with her. And she's like, yeah, but it wasn't that serious. I was like, what do you mean, like, hooking up isn't that serious? I thought, like, you guys, like, hooked up. And she's like, no, we just, like, made out in my bed for a little while, but then, like, we both fell asleep because we were so drunk. And I was like, so that's it? You just made out? Like, to me, you could have just said we made out for a little while and then went to sleep. Not. I feel like when you say
that'll
hooked
never
up,
like that'll never be a universal term for it ever.
No, and I hate it. I'm not saying hooked up has a clear definition, like meme is
no, yeah. That's why
like, I feel like sometimes people take it too loosely though. Like
that's why I'm like, hey,
we kissed for a little bit.
Yeah, I'm like, what do you mean by
that?
Okay, like I always ask before I say, okay, then this happened.
So yeah, just the broad definition, just end on a grievance. That has been the airing of the grievances. Unless you have more to say.
I have no more. For now, I'll save it.
I have the perfect answer for this Ask Reddit. I'm going to check to make sure my answer hasn't been stolen yet. But it says, to this date, what is mankind's most valuable accomplishment? And I'm going to say, surviving Hell in a Cell from The Undertaker.
Yes. Yes. I agree. Not being broken in half like JR so adequately put it.
Oh, there's a video. One of the YouTube people I follow, they have different things. They have like entertainment, wrestling, gaming, comics. Mm-hmm. So they're kind of split. So some people don't watch wrestling, right? So they got a few people and showed them clips from like classic wrestling, and just to see their reactions and that infamous Hell in a Cell match.
I mean, if you know like, that, you have to.
Yeah, they're like, wait, what just happened? Did he die? Like, how? Like, that was great.
He's broken in half. He's broken in half. As God is my witness. He's broken in half.
He got up and did it. He got Well, the second fall wasn't supposed to happen.
And Taker was like,
oh yeah,
I think I could him to something.
Yeah. And I think it's something like Mick Foley only remembers half that match or something.
He definitely got 3 concussions that match. Yeah.
Easily. And the fact that he still wrestled for 10 more years.
Very problematic.
After that. I think he officially retired. He's had a few matches here and there, but I think
he needs to never step back in the square circle ever again.
Yeah. Oh, there it is. It's the third highest comment, surviving the Hell in a Cell match. Yep. Alright. It has been me and Anchovio.
Yo.
Airing out our grievances. And Peggy. She had no grievances. She's a penguin. What do they have to grieve about?
Nothing.
This pebble isn't big enough. Title. Penguin. I don't know where that rant was going, but I'm a little tired. Episode 40. I remember because it's a milestone. And I also just edited 39 2 days ago. Episode 40. Be on the lookout for new things probably, hopefully happening in the near future with Sqwad Nation. And the girls only dating episode will be released probably sometime after this, but it'll still be episode 35, just part 2. So it took us 4 episodes to do part 2 of another episode.
People are busy.
It is happening. I have confirmed with the participants. Be on the lookout for that too. Alright. Sqwad out.
Who are the confirmed participants?
Well, first qualification, they have vaginas.
I'm thinking who? Who are they?